You're wondering if AI can help you write your full-length book? Well, the good news is that it's possible. The bad news is that it depends on the tool you're gonna use. Because the standard LLM-based tools are not up to the task. Because they cannot keep the context of your book, of your story, throughout all the generation. Yes, their context window is limited. So you really need to use a tool that is dedicated to long-form content generation. In this video, I'm going to share with you the AI tools I use personally to create fiction and non-fiction book efficiently. Ready? Let's go. One of the first tool I use is really impressive, and that's why I put it first in this video. That doesn't mean the other tools I'm going to show you after are not also remarkable, but this tool is especially remarkable, especially for fiction writing. As you can see, this tool is called Pseudowrite, and it's just the best tool to generate a fiction book from scratch with just the basic elements. As you can see, there's a lot of things going on the interface of Pseudowrite, and that's for a good reason, because all of these features are going to guide you throughout the generation of your book, and starting by really creating the foundation of your story, the basic elements that you're gonna indicate first on the story Bible and brain dump. Here you're gonna be able to indicate in a first draft all the basic elements of the story you want to write, the ideal version of your story. So just put whatever comes to your mind first, whatever fancy story you want to tell, and then it's just gonna generate all the elements from that. It's gonna first generate this synopsis of your whole story that you're gonna be able to rewrite to make it really better and look closer to what you want. And then from this synopsis, you'll be able to generate all the elements, that is the characters, with a lot of specific details, the personality, the background, and then also all the world building elements, that is the location, the lore, all the other elements that are part of your moving story. As you can see here, I used to write for my own personal project, writing project, which is about an Halloween party that goes wrong, where there's like one of the character that just get crazy because of AI delusion, because he talked to an AI or something. Yeah, just my personal project. But with Pseudowrite, I was able to really make it more concrete and to really go further and deeper to my project. Whereas if I didn't use it, it would take me a lot of time to get started and to get something really decent that I could really visualize as a story. The main selling point of this tool is definitely that it just generate the elements and you just have to review it. And so yeah, it's way easier to get started and get it running. When you agree with all the elements generated, you can just generate the outline based on all the elements with the AI. And then you get all the vision of all the scenes and chapters of your book. And when you agree with this outline, you can just generate chapter by chapter your book, just like this. And what's amazing is that in this generation of each section and scene, the AI will keep the context of all the elements that you just generated before. So it keeps all the consistent structure and narrative of your story all along. And that's something you couldn't get with just ChatGPT or any kind of chatbot or standard average AI writing tool. Or at least to be able to do that, you have to do a lot of prompting to remind the AI of your story each time you're just generating a new section. And that's a bit complicated. The pro is that Pseudowrite Generate is also kind of good. It looks like a fiction book. All the paragraphs, and yeah, the elements, the visualization is also kind of good, but you can just actually customize them all. So here it used Muse, which is like their own homegrown custom LM models, which is really good for fiction, I have to say. It's not that bad, but there are other LM models I can use easily through the Pseudowrite interface by just using the Pseudowrite credits. So of course you have Claude with Claude 4, Sonnet, Claude 4.5, all the latest Claude models, which are really the best for fiction and creative writing. You have also the latest Gemini models, the ChatGPT models. You have also all the good open source models like DeepSeek, etc. So there's some customization, and that's also really good. About this customization, you can also use and try the plugins that have been published by the community. And there's like a lot of them to just apply some kind of original narrative techniques or something like that. And yeah, that's also very interesting. I think definitely the Should Write community is one of the biggest and most vibrant community in the AI writing field. Definitely, there's a lot of people sharing all kind of stuff. And also, of course, the company is also updating its tool very regularly. So you get a lot of value from it. When it comes to pricing, it's quite decent, I have to say. You can start with $10 per month if you take the yearly plan. And then if you really want to finish and really get serious in your writing, yeah, definitely you have to take the other plans with like almost 1 million credits. And when you take it the monthly, it's a bit more expensive. But I guess it's fine. It's not the most expensive tool here on this video, but it works. As you've seen, Should Write is really user-friendly and convenient to generate fiction. But it's not really made for non-fiction because these world-building features, they don't fit in a project of non-fiction because you won't create a fiction world. You just start to write about real things. And that's where an AI tool like Scribbler comes into play. Scribbler is actually a very versatile AI writing tool. You can actually use it for a lot of things. You can use it for fiction, but you can also use it for nonfiction, for biography, all kind of things, and also script writing. And that's why maybe for fiction, it's not the best tool. Definitely, there's Should Write, and then there's another tool we're going to talk about, which is Novel Crafter, which are better for fiction, but it's still good. And if you want to use it for that, you can use it. The workflow is a bit different. So for example, when I use it for fiction, I ask it to generate my fiction book based on my synopsis and all the outline. And it did it quite fine. It's really good to just generate from scratch in one go a whole book. But of course, it's not the best way to generate a book, a quality book, but it's just useful to try an idea, have fun. And that's what I did here with a very long book generated in one shot. The problem here is just that if you do that, it's not going to be very 100% consistent, and there's going to be a lot of repetition in all the sections. For example, the scene will just repeat themselves from time to time. There will be gap in your narrative, and also the style will be also kind of very repetitive, and there will always be the same AI pattern that will repeat in throughout your book. So I wouldn't recommend it unless you're ready to re-edit and review a whole book already being written. Maybe that's your thing. But I think it's not the most efficient way to write a book. The most efficient way, of course, is just to first generate the outline. And that's what you can do with Scribbler. You can either generate the outline first, as you can see here. So I have all the chapters and all the time a summary of the scene for each one of these. And then I can just add all the details of the scene for each chapters. And then I can use the Smart Writer feature to generate all the prose for each chapter. That's what I did with my nonfiction project, which is about LLM writing and how it differs from the writing from human writer. As you can see, I've generated step by step all the book. So there's still a lot of AI patterns and tropes. It's still very much like AI. Definitely when you look at it. So of course you'll have to review. That's a thing you have to do for any kind of tool. You have to review by yourself to edit all the AI writing patterns. But it's already a good foundation, and I can really start from that and try to make it perfect. What's good with Scribbler is that it understands how a book is structured. So for example, there's the dedication page, the preface, the introduction, then the back of the book. Also, the prose that is generated is also well formatted. You have so always paragraphs with several sentences, so it's really easy to read. But yeah, just the ideas and the content of the book itself, you have to add a lot of input from yourself, from your experience, your own style, your own narrative and stories to really make it look like and sound like human. I didn't talk about the element feature, but it's almost like Should Write, but you have to create all the character, all the objects of your story by yourself manually. You cannot generate them, so that's a bit sad. It would be not as efficient as in Should Write, but still you can use it to feed context to the AI so it knows what your story is about. You can use it for fiction though, it works, and you can really get your project running with this tool, so that's not a problem, but you have to put a lot more effort into the project. When it comes to the pricing of Scribbler, it's as expensive as To The Right, especially the second plan of To The Right. So you can have it monthly for 29 euro, otherwise it's 16 euro monthly, and you have a bit of everything. There's just one plan and it's unlimited, so you have everything that you want. You can try it and just see how it works for you. Another amazing AI book writer is Novel Crafter. It's a very well-known tool among the writer community, and there's good reason for that, because there's just a lot of customization possibilities with Novel Crafter. It's somewhat a do-it-yourself tool for AI writing. As you can see, I use it for my personal project around Halloween and AI, and for this, you have to put all the character and location and world building by yourself in what is called the codex feature. So you just put a new entry and you put the location, the lore, the plot, all the objects that are involved in your story. And then from that, you can just start to generate with AI. It's the same with the plan, with the outline. You cannot really generate it from the AI features of Novel Crafter. You have first to write it by yourself, all the outline. So you don't have to do a lot of details, but at least enough details so that the AI understand where you want to lead your story. And then you have to connect your own API for AI models. It seems tricky, but it's actually really easy. And what's really good is that you just customize everything. And that's where all the differences from To The Right lie. Because in To The Right, you cannot really customize your prompts and your workflow. You have to rely on the guidance and the system prompt of To The Right. So if it doesn't generate a quality prose for you, you cannot do anything about it. Whereas if you go on Novel Crafter, you just go on prompt, and you can just add your own prompts for expanding, rephrasing, for any kind of prompt. And of course, when you write, just give your own prompt. So yeah, that's a lot of creative freedom right here. You can also use the chatbot feature to get feedback from your writing. You can review it with some statistics about your book. And overall, that's all the features that you can use on Novel Crafter. It's already a lot of things. You take a lot of time to get used to these features. But at the end, when you really master them, you can do a lot of things with that and have a lot of creative freedom, like I said. So for example, you don't have to worry about the codex feature. I think it doesn't really work for nonfiction. You just have to outline the chapters of all your book, with all the details about the research, your ideas, the story you want to tell also, of course. And then you can just generate it section by section. When it comes to the pricing of Novel Crafter, it's definitely cheaper than Scribbler. And there's a reason for that, because you have to bring your own API key for AI models. So it won't provide you with the AI output and credits. You have to pay it for yourself. So here, you're just paying the basic feature and access to Novel Crafter, and it's fine, good value for money. Less than 10 euro here per month, so that's fine. Another remarkable fiction writing tool they can use is Novel AI. It's remarkable because it doesn't work like the other regular AI writing tools that are on the market. It's actually more interactive, more like a game. So for example, if you go to the interface, you have first just the basic AI writing interface, where you can just generate step by step your writing. You can also rely on a codex world building interface to feed the context to the AI of your book. So for example, here I put all my characters, also the synopsis, everything, all the context. And then you just ask the AI to write the story sentence by sentence, which makes it a bit weird because you cannot really outline your story before generating it. So it can get a bit inconsistent, and you cannot really reflect a structure, a vision that is coherent throughout your book, and that's a shame. When it comes to the AI model that is used, it's fine, the prose is fine. It's using an open source model that has been fine-tuned. It's a good prose. Of course, you have to edit a lot, but yeah, it works. But what's the most fun part of this Novel AI tool is that you can use the story mode. And that's where it gets more about writing a novel than just like living it and just trying to visualize your story. You can actually play the character of your own novel and just do some actions like do or say, and we'll continue the conversation, the actions of your story throughout all the actions that you're gonna take. So that's nice if you don't know where your story is gonna lead you and just want to follow the flow of the story in a bit in a random way. There's also some customization feature that you don't find in other tools and I have to talk about. For example, you can remove the probability of the appearance of some sentences or words in the generation of the AI. You can adjust the randomness, the output of the AI, and all other kind of stuff. And otherwise, that's it. I'll let you try it. It's a really different interface because you have to generate sentence by sentence. So yeah, if you just want to write a short or medium length story, I think it's interesting. You can try it. But otherwise, I think the other tools are more convenient for that. When it comes to the pricing, it's really fair. You can get a lot of value with not a lot of money, just $10 per month. You can already do some things with it. And then you can scale up the plan to get a lot of context and credits to get even further. Let's get back now to tools that are made more for nonfiction writing. And one other that I didn't talk about is Designer. It's a tool that is really made to design long form pieces of content, especially ebook, but also visual books and other kind of nonfiction Kindle books. So you can use their AI, which is called Word Genie, and then just give the topic that you want to talk about. Also give all the context about your story or ideas, the topic that you want to address, the tone, etc., the style. And then Word Genie will just generate it from scratch. And that's where it gets a bit tricky because the customization possibilities are not that extensive before generating. So yeah, you really have to be precise there. But when you generated it, as you can see, you have already all the text. You can also use the visual editing to add pictures and stuff, all kind of visuals in your book. So that's good. It's a good editor for that. But otherwise, I think the quality of the output is not that good compared to the other tools. It doesn't sometimes sound like a real serious book. You cannot also keep the context, the elements, the vision of your book in one place so that the AI remembers it. You have always to generate from scratch and use your own prompts. Just at the beginning, you can just use the outline. And that's one thing that doesn't really work that well. But if you want to generate a visual book with a lot of pictures and stuff, I think it's fine. This tool is also more expensive if you want to get all the features. But as I said, it's more a design tool than just a basic AI writing tool. So I get it, more things in this. So also you get more value, but it's also more expensive. There's one thing in this video I didn't talk about yet, which is using the native AI chatbot like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude to generate a book. And I didn't talk about this first because it's complicated. For example, if you go to ChatGPT, of course you can just generate your book by giving prompt step by step, but it's a hard endeavor. You have to regularly remind the AI about your project, your vision, your world building, all the elements of your story, of your vision of your ideas. And that's a lot of things for the AI to remember. There's some workaround that you can use. For example, you could just create a GPT and just tell it about your project and all the elements, and it can work for a while. But it's not the most efficient way to do this. Like the other tools I talked about, like to the right, Novel Crafter, they have a way to structure the prompt, the instructions, the context that you're gonna give the AI that is more efficient and that you don't get in a native chatbot AI. But I guess to outline and research your story first, it's actually a really good tool. For example, you can use the deep research feature to get a lot of information already that is online about your project, whether that is a non-fiction or fiction project. The search feature on ChatGPT is really good at extracting and summarizing all the facts and research and ideas that are already existing online. So that's already a good first step to write your book. It's the same story of Gemini, where you can get also already a lot of things with deep research. You can also prompt your story step by step, but it's again not the most efficient way. I feel the same way with Claude, which is a really good AI model, especially for fiction writing. I think the voice of Claude is very personal and there's like some kind of deep emotional intelligence that reflect from Claude output. And it's really interesting to use it to write your book. There's some feature that help you structure a project like the other chatbots, but as I said, it's limited and you'll soon see that it's not very easy to do it on a chatbot. And otherwise, that's it. I gave you all the tools that you could use to generate a fiction or non-fiction book with a very efficient workflow. So I let you try and experiment with all these tools. For each of these tools, you can just use the free trial or free version and inject all the elements of your fiction or non-fiction project and see where it leads you. Otherwise, I hope you found this video helpful. And if that's the case, of course, don't forget to like, to subscribe to the channel. And if you have any question, of course, to just leave a comment under the video. And otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.